All right, if you're an online coach and you're looking to create success in 2024, this video is for you. And just a quick backstory about why I'm even making this video. I believe that there is a massive shift happening in our industry. I think that the rules are changing, the game is evolving. I think what was working is not working as well. I don't ever want to say not working, but not working as well. And I think more than anything, what I'm seeing is a bit disheartening because I'm seeing coaches that are burned out. I'm seeing coaches that are struggling. I'm seeing coaches that are questioning whether they can even remain in the industry. And I have this very fundamental belief that coaches really change lives. Coaches change the world. And so if you're an online coach and you're struggling and you're burned out, hopefully this video will serve to help you. So just a quick backstory on myself. The reason I believe so heavily in coaching is that a coach saved my life. When I was 19 years old, I was anorexic. That anorexia led me into a downward spiral that had me suicidal. And if not for a coach getting me out of that, truly showing me a better way, I may not be here today. NCI may not exist. The thousands of coaches that we've certified would not be changing lives. And really, at the end of the day, it all comes down to that one interaction I had with that one coach. And so I am now on a mission to pay it forward. I want to change 1 billion lives through the vehicle of health and fitness. And hopefully this information will give you what you need to go out and to serve. So additionally, this past year was maybe one of the hardest years I've ever experienced in the online space. Just 2 years ago, my company was doing $1.5, $1.6 million per month. And in October of 2023, I publicly acknowledged that I was prepared to walk away from all of it. I completely shut down doing business consulting for clients, and I almost shut down the rest of the business at the same time, mostly because the industry was changing and I had built a business that was largely predicated on scale. It was not built purely on simplicity or profitability. And so at that time, I took a long look in the mirror and I said to myself, is this something I want to continue doing? And if so, what actually needs to change? And in those dark times, I walked out with two very specific words. They're the two words that I think are guiding success in 2024. Those words are happiness and profitability. I think if you're a coach and you want to succeed in the online space this year, you first need to choose happiness. You need to remember why you got into this in the first place. And it's not because you wanted to get rich. It's probably because there was some event in your life that mattered and you were like, wow, like health and fitness or whatever whatever online coaching vertical you're in, but something changed your life and you had a connection to it. You wanted to use it as a vehicle to pay it forward. And you probably wanted the freedom associated with being online. You probably weren't thinking about millions of dollars. You probably weren't thinking about having big fancy teams, but you were thinking about being able to live life on your own terms and being able to do something that you really valued, something you knew that could change lives, right? And the other side is the profitability side, which is over the last several years, we've been taught models purely predicated on scalability. We've been taught to build big teams. We've been taught to have, really big acquisition strategies. We've been taught to have all of these things that require us to build, but we've never been asked the question, well, how much money is going into our pockets? The entrepreneur, the CEO, the person that took all of the risk in building this, and the person that continues to take all of the risk as we grow this vehicle. So as we move forward into 2024, I believe you should be leading with the two words happiness and profit. And the way we achieve that is by asking three very specific questions. The first is directly correlated to profit, and it's how much profit do you want to make per month? When I sit with entrepreneurs, I ask them all the time, how much money do you want to make per month? And they give me these big numbers. And I ask them top or bottom line, and they say, well, that's how much I want the business to make. But then when I ask them how much they want to put in their pocket each month, they struggle to answer that question. And that's kind of crazy to me, because when I looked at P&Ls over the last 2 years, and I've seen P&Ls for almost 1,000 different online businesses, what I saw was coaches making $20, $30, $50, sometimes $100,000 and $200,000 a month. But I saw margins in the 20 and 30% ranges. Very rarely did I see healthy margins that would be upwards of 40 or 50%. And so that means the same coach that was making $25,000 on their own before ever hiring a team was putting away the same amount of money when they were making $90,000 per month with this big, bloated, and stressful team. And that just doesn't make sense to me. So I think that we first, as entrepreneurs, we first as business owners, and those of us that want success in the online space need to be answering the question, how much money do I want to be putting in my pocket at the end of the month? Now, the next question we want to answer is quite simply, what do I not want to do? And I think that a lot of people have this backwards. Most people ask ourselves, what do I want to do? And they kind of start with the beginning moving forward, and they only do the actions that they're excited about. Now, there's a lot of reasons that doesn't work, most notably because we tend to avoid the really difficult stuff. But I think that the better question is always, what am I not willing to do? And so when I asked myself that question heading into this year, what I realized is I didn't want to live on an ultra routinized schedule. I didn't want to wake up and have to look at a calendar and realize, okay, well, I'm talking to Sally at 9 and Jane at 10 and, Bobby at 11 and whoever it might be. But what I wanted to do was deliver results at the highest level. And I really genuinely love connecting with my clients. I love interacting with them, but I like doing it when they actually have a problem, when they actually need something, and when I can be of value. I'm not here just to kind of shoot the shit. I'm not here just to, text back and forth. I'm really here to be a deliverer of solutions and of value. And so I set up my model accordingly. I don't do regularly scheduled calls. I do what's called asynchronous coaching, where people can reach out to me literally 24/7 as long as I'm awake, and I will directly answer that question. And if I can't answer it via text or via voice memo, then we'll hop on a quick call. And so this has actually turned out to be in my favor because my clients feel supported 24/7, 365. I feel like I don't have to be ultra adherent to any crazy restrictive schedule. And my clients also know that when I'm taking their calls or when I'm answering their questions, I'm probably going to be in an environment that I'm enjoying, which tends to be either driving, getting from point A to point B, at the gym, or at the golf course in my case. And so everything works out for me. So if you're a coach, number one, what do you want to be taking home each month? Number two, what are you not willing to do inside of making that amount of money? And then the final question is, who do you want to work with? But more importantly, who do you not want to work with? One of my good friends and mentors, Kevin Nations, made me realize the value of what we call exclusive marketing. I think that a lot of us have been taught over the last year to practice inclusive marketing, which is I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell to pretty much anybody that is consuming my content. And I think the best coaches, the most highly paid coaches, and definitely the highest profit coaches will practice more of an exclusive based approach, which means they are repelling 80 to 90% of the people consuming their content because they know that either they're not qualified to work with them or they're just not a personality fit for what they want to be doing. I think longevity as a coach is super important. And if you're waking up each and every day and you're not excited for the people that are on your calendar, then you're probably not going to stay in the game very long. So when you put these three questions together, how much money do you want to make? What do you not want to be doing? And most importantly, who do you not want to be working with? We now have the foundation that we can begin building a business around. And that leads us into the actual tactics that I think will win in 2024. And so I've always said, there's only certain things that each business in the world does. I firmly believe almost every business, has very core foundations. We have to generate leads. We have to nurture those leads and move them to a sales opportunity. We have to close them. We got to sell them something. And of course, we have to fulfill at a very high level and ultimately build infrastructure that allows us to grow. So let's break those down and what I believe you should be doing in 2024. The first would be lead generation. Okay, I think lead gen has completely changed. I think paid ads are slowly losing efficacy. I don't want to say they've lost all efficacy, but they are losing some of the efficacy that they once had. And I think that organic marketing is far more important than ever. Now, a lot of people will say that's purely content. I would disagree. I think there are lots of forms of organic marketing. I think partnerships and affiliates are going to be massive in 2024 because I think a lot of people are struggling. And so when businesses can band together and they can service together, I think that's where real success will start to happen. But let's look at organic content. I think that what we have to understand is that buying cycles are increasing in duration. I think customers need more certainty. They need more proof. I think they've been throwing more BS the last several years. And I think they have more opportunity to compare services to one another just because of the increased amount of offerings in the space. And so I think if you want to get customers organically, or even if you want to get leads organically, you have to be showing up as a source of value, but you need to take that deeper. And I think there's 3 very specific actions that your organic content should be doing. First and foremost, it should be creating visibility for you. Nobody can buy from you if they don't know who you are. And so if you're not showing up, if you're not becoming present, you're not going to be ultra successful. Now, I don't think this means you need to be everywhere all the time. I don't think this means you need to have this massive level of omnipresence. I think that you actually need to ask yourself a very simple question, which is, where are my clients and how do I get myself in front of them? For me, my first year in business, I realized that the majority of my clients were in CrossFit gyms. And so what I did is I offered gym owners to go to their gyms, to deliver free seminars, and to simply make an offer at the end of that. I covered my own travel, my own hotel, all my own expenses. I just wanted the opportunity to bring value. And so for you, organically, you need to ask the question, where are my clients? How can I get in front of them? This will become through collaborations. This will come through, yes, creating content and making it seen. This will come through partners and affiliates. But once we have that visibility, the next thing we need to do is give people the opportunity to engage with us. We don't want to sell from the top of our funnel. We don't want to sell purely on visibility. Instead, we want the opportunity to add value. And when you add value, you can now ask for engagement. And so this is asking for feedback. This is asking for likes, comments, anything that gives them the opportunity to engage with you. And then the final component would be to ask for movement. And the reason we ask for movement is we want to own this attention. If they're just looking at you, liking your stuff, commenting on your stuff, you still don't own their contact information. One thing we know to be true is each and every year, Meta will go down. It has happened pretty much every year the last several years. The world freaks out. And all of a sudden, the people that are building their business predicated on their Instagram following or their Facebook following, they freak out because they're not able to get clients. So if you are working hard to get that visibility and get that engagement, we also want to ask for movement. Inside of that movement, we're typically asking for information. So name, email, phone number, so that we can own that contact information. Or we're asking for presence, some sort of online community. You know, there's the school community from Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy. There's Facebook groups, which I always call leased media. And then there's several other platforms like Discord and other apps where you can put your clients where when you deliver a message, you can guarantee deliverability. All right. And so this is what I think is going to be big inside of lead generation. I do not in any way think you should run paid traffic directly to your offer. We are seeing that almost non-existent in the B2C service-based space, especially if you're a brand new coach. I think if you're a super high ticket coach, maybe you can get away with it, but for the most part, it's not going to be effective. It's going to be a massive waste of money, and I don't recommend it. Instead, I really think you need to triple down on your brand and your engagement, which is basically a direct result of you growing your organic content. So the next thing I think is lead nurture in 2024. This is where I think the biggest change is going to be. You know, back in 2020, when the world got kind of crazy, one thing we saw people buying from cold traffic. And so as a coach, you could go on, you could go out, you could send a cold DM, you could engage with a prospect, and you could literally sell them high ticket services right away. But I hate to break it to you, in 2024, that bubble has burst. I believe the coaching bubble is extremely vulnerable right now. And I think that trying to sell high ticket to cold traffic is not going to be a good idea. So over the course of the last 4 years, we saw, instead of selling right away in the DMs, we saw people move individuals to a community, like a Facebook group. And inside of that community, we would then engage them in a DM and we would make them an offer. And that worked really well for quite some time as well. But I think in 2024, the efficacy of that is also being reduced. And I don't think you're going to see a similar pace of movement. I believe in 2024, the biggest change we're going to see is speed. And I think it's going to be a decrease in speed, which means that your ability to nurture at a very high level is going to make or break your success this coming year. And what I mean by nurture is you need to have 3 levels of nurture inside of your owned media. The first is what I call framework or launch-based nurture. I know NCI, my company, is famous for the frameworks that we put out. We've built rapid cash frameworks that have sometimes produced $100,000 in as little as a week. But you need to still be able to rapidly put money into your business on demand if you need it. I don't believe your business should be reliant on these things, but I do believe that you need to be able to print money on demand when you need it. The second is what I call organic-based nurture. Now, last year, 2023, organic-based nurture would typically take anywhere 1 to 3 months to move a prospect through your funnel and get them to a sales opportunity. Unfortunately, this year, we're seeing those times closer to 6 to 9 months. And I don't think you want to wait 9 months to warm a client up, but you do still need to have that happening in your pipeline all the time so that the clients that are hitting that 6 to 9 month mark are prepared to sign up. But the biggest thing in 2024 is the introduction of what I'm calling the trigger. And really what the trigger is, it's a piece of value that immediately yields a sales conversation. And this is something that will massively increase speed through your funnel because it's not only valuable, but it provides a firsthand solution to your client. A great example of this for nutrition coaches would be what we call the metabolic assessment. So imagine somebody comes to your community, they're seeking a very specific solution. You basically go in and you're like, hey, listen, here's the solution, but I can't guarantee it's going to work for you until I know the status of your metabolism. Would you like to take this metabolic assessment? I could give you the results and then I could share with you how to implement this solution, right? What that does is it immediately creates trust, but it also expedites speed. It's moving somebody through this funnel. You're now building that personal level of connection. You're providing a custom result. And inside of providing a result based on connection, you have now created a sales opportunity. And so when you combine these three things, you've got your launch-based nurture, your organic-based nurture, and then you have a trigger inside of your community, that should give you what you need, which is the ability to week by week over every single quarter to immediately be able to predict and share exactly how you expect to produce sales opportunities. If you can't do that in your business, you're just guessing, you're just praying, and ultimately, I don't think you're going to be successful. Now, the third component, of course, is closing clients. I believe this year, you should be using revolving pricing. I have to give credit to my good friend, Taylor Welch. Taylor Welch is the man when it comes to a lot of things online. A lot of things can date back to him, but he is the person that put the name to this pricing convention. It's something I've been implementing for over a year with my clients. I think it checks absolutely every box. But in short, revolving pricing will give you the ability to charge some form of enrollment fee and some sort of recurring revenue. Now, the reason this matters, it puts cash in your pocket, but it also creates predictability in your business. Obviously, growth models and scale models do require budget. If you don't have recurring revenue, you're guessing from a budgetary side. And in a very volatile environment, guessing is not good when it comes to budget. And then the final component is going to be, ultimately how you scale and what your team should be. And I know it was popular, is regularly accepted the last several years that you need a VA, you need a setter, you need more assistant coaches, you need a salesperson. And I'm here to actually tell you, I think this is the year of being as lean as humanly possible. I think you should delay outsourcing absolutely everything as long as humanly possible. And then I think you should look yourself in the mirror and only outsource the things either that you truly hate or that you truly suck at. And I know for me, with my clients, I've stepped back into virtually everything. I help with the sales, I do all of the fulfillment, and honestly, I'm having more fun than ever because I've done that based on the 3 questions I asked you earlier in this video. The result of that, the result of not outsourcing, not having a massive team, is my profit margins have tripled. I am now running a massive business on significant margins, which means at the end of the day, I'm putting more money in my pocket. So as we look into 2024, a lot of things are changing. It's a scary time for a lot of online coaches, and I really think that you need to be prepared. And I think if you look across what I just shared, we look at lead gen, we talk more about organic, we look at lead nurture, we talk about the 3 levels of nurture, we look at pricing, and we understand that revolving pricing will give you the freedom you desire. And then, of course, we build infrastructure predicated on the 3 foundational questions of profit, What do you not want to do and who do you not want to help? Now you can build a strategy that will serve you in 2024. So if you have questions, if you want me to help you implement this, by all means, you know how to contact me. You can look below. I'm sure there's a link. You can find me on Instagram or any other platform. I'd be more than willing to answer your questions and to help. But at the end of the day, I just hope this video was worth your time watching, that it gave you some insight as to how you're thinking about the next 12 months. Because at the end of the day, the world needs you. You're going to go out there. You're going to change lives. And I appreciate you choosing impact over everything.